I hit go live. Hello. Hi, guys. Can you hear me? Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hi. Can you guys hear me? If you guys, someone can just type yes if you can hear me. Hello. Hello. Oh, yes, yes. Perfect. Because you know what? I've just been talking for about 7 minutes now to myself. I'm so terrible at this. I've been talking for 7 minutes, dropping pearls, literal pearls, and I was like, nobody's responding to me. What's going on? And I realized I hit start stream, but you have to hit go live too, and I didn't do that. I thought I did. So, oh, this is hilarious. Oh my gosh. So, what a day, huh, guys? Oh, wow. Um, so I was just talking for 7 minutes to myself. Um, all right. So we're gonna let a few more people come in. I just wanted to. I was working on finding out. Um, I had an idea for helping Woon Jun Chen and Hugo and all the others that are trapped in China by using the power of our amazing minds and energy. Because today is a phenomenal day. Today is, oh, I gotta ask you guys, who woke up this morning feeling energized, calm, inexplicably calm, even though you felt energized? It wasn't like a wiry energy. It was like almost like you'd run a marathon and you finally dropped the backpack that was on your back. That sort of thing. Lighter, almost joyous. If you woke up that way, could you type one? If you didn't wake up that way and maybe you felt tired this morning, like you'd been fighting someone in your sleep, you'd run a marathon in your sleep, and you just kind of didn't feel like you had gotten a deep sleep, type two, because that really does have to do with what's happening today. On March 3rd. March 3rd is um, a mirror portal day. And to have it happen on a blood moon with a full eclipse is, well, it's something that probably will not occur again in our lifetime. Um, so, just how to explain that. So, what I hope to discuss tonight is the blood moon and the 3-3 portal and how it will affect our lives from this moment forward. But I just want to congratulate everybody for going through that portal into our new timeline, which we're in now. And um, yes, it's very exciting. Okay. So the 3-3 portal has a spiritual significance. The number 3-3 holds significant spiritual meaning globally across various cultures and traditions. Um, Basically, the number three, um, it's considered like the divine trinity is three: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And there's a similar concept in every other religion across the globe. Hinduism, everything has a sort of trinity of three. The Celtic gods, everything. It also symbolizes creativity and expression. So that and manifestation and ideas. Three is harmony and balance as well. It's a harmonic link to the body, mind, and spirit. Again, three things: body, mind, and spirit. It symbolizes growth and expansion. It just signifies growth, development, and new possibilities. So, again, three things. And it also is like an indicator three of joy and optimism. So, if you're someone who constantly sees the clock and it's 333, you're someone who's really tapped into all of those things. You know how I look at the clock and I see 11:11, or someone may look at the clock and see 111, things like that. All numbers have significance, right? So three is like linked with joy, enthusiasm, um, encouraging sort of happiness, which creates the optimal frequency. You know, happiness is the optimal frequency of life. You kind of glide through your life. If you are a happy-go-lucky person, that's why people are drawn to you, because they enjoy being around that frequency. It's quite... So this is what's happened. Today is March 3rd, the third month in the third day. And then we had a lunar eclipse on top of it. So there's extreme spiritual significance to what's just happened today. And it's something cosmologically doesn't happen, or astrologically doesn't happen very often, and we won't see it again in our lifetime at all of those convergences. So what this does is actually, it forms like we're in the process of a spiritual awakening. Okay? It's enlightenment. In numerology, it represents an awakening, a deeper connection to the divine. This is what's happened today. It's manifestation and realization. Three symbolizes turning ideas into reality and achieving goals through a connection to source. Three also represents universal principles. Three is associated with creation, preservation, and destruction. But you can't build unless you destruct first, right? Three is symbolic of life cycles. Three represents life cycles such as birth, life, and death. All those three things have to happen, as well as the flow of past, present, and future. Again, three. Three is also connection to nature. Three represents a connection to the natural world, representing heaven, earth, and the underworld. So the number three's meaning is pretty basically can be kind of pared down to the most creative number, the most balanced number, the number that indicates most growth, the most joyous number. It's indicative of spiritual awakenings and manifestation. So today, if you chose to get thousands upon thousands of people, let's say, to focus on Huge in China at 3:33 in the morning, you have third month, third day, 3:33. You would be able to manifest maybe Guo Chen being freed from his spiritual prison that he's in, because the universe is so malleable on this day that we can create whatever reality we want. We're in the new timeline now. So, for example, I wanted to point this out because the number one is probably the only number other than three that has the most spiritual power. Obviously, source is one, monads one, you have the individual is one. When you look at the sun, there's one, the moon, there's one. One has so much power, right? Now, think about it. And I often think of this. when we pray, when you go to a church and you pray together, that power of prayer, it creates a resonance. And that's why all these old churches used to have harmonic resonance in the cathedrals with the bells. It would vibrate through the annex and throughout the church, which, you don't hear bells anymore. I think that's actually being it's engineered anyway. But we're just going to try to talk about happy things today. But I just wanted to point out that Remembrance Day. What is it on? The 11th month, the 11th day, the 11th hour. And once you start setting up to start your moment of prayer or silence, it probably takes about 11 seconds to get that into play. Then you have millions of people bowing their heads around the world. And what are they remembering? Yes, the people that passed in the war, maybe a relative or a grandfather or whatever. But primarily they're thinking about war. And you're talking, this is one of the highest manifesting days, and you have millions of people thinking of war. I wonder, engineered or coincidental? By the way, I don't believe in coincidence. Okay, so let me explain March 3rd. You need to be prepared. We're on the edge of witnessing one of the greatest spiritual awakenings events, and we can't afford to ignore it. Today we had a total lunar eclipse, but this time it landed directly on a 3 portal day. These two events didn't just overlap. They actually combined with each other, right? And whether you really realize it or not, it has already started affecting you. Whether you're spiritual or not, you will feel the shift. You will feel it. And that's what I'm saying. You woke up energized. You've gone through the portal. Okay? If you woke up tired, you're still working on being in your transit between the last lunar eclipse, which was Yu Meng Long, and I'll explain that in a bit. But you're still in transition. You're still letting go of some baggage from before the portal, and you have a 3-day window. It's going to be plenty of time for you to finish your transition and come through on the other side with us as well. This is a rare astronomical convergence, which the ancients called a gateway of transformation. This window, it's one of the things that possibly will never happen again in our lifetime, as I mentioned. It's kind of an exact configuration. So it's going to give us exactly 3 days to sort of go through all of the protocols that the ancients suggested. These would be alchemists. These would be Gnostics. They all sort of talked about lunar events like this. They all talked about protocols to follow. Well, the ancients used these protocols to harness the transformational energy. The same principles that alchemists encoded in ancient texts as well. So I am so excited right now because, the hell we've been going through since Yu Meng Long died. That was the beginning of the convergence. And ancient esoterics believed that from one lunar eclipse or solar eclipse to the next was kind of a corridor or a passageway that everybody energetically sort of got funneled into. And those corridors or passageways were sort of the veils were thin, and in came negative, positive. It was like chaotic. I don't know if anyone else had felt it. From September on till this moment, I felt like I was carrying every burden I ever accumulated through my life. And that's actually part of the process. Picture this. You start at that other event that funnels you into the portal. And in that time frame, you go through maybe picking up old habits that you had lost years ago, or finding yourself thinking about an axe that was never good for you in the first place. It's almost like you're digging up your past. And I look at it this way. Imagine you're getting ready to move, and coming through this portal is your moving date. And you have to go through your house, and you have to, you know, dig out stuff from old drawers you haven't looked in ages. And what do you find there? Old love letters from someone who it didn't work out with. And, and you dredge up the past. Maybe you find old bottles when you used to have a drinking problem. And it reminds you how far you've come and how much of a hard time you had. Maybe you find old sort of school reports of teachers that said you weren't going to amount to much. Um, and these are all digging up your past. And you're deciding then and there whether you're going to pack it up and take it with you, or you're going to discard it where it should be. And we've been all doing that since September. And I think a lot of us have felt that. Um, Not consciously, subconsciously, we felt that. So now the portal, the wherever you were in the world, where the totality was, that would have been the opening of the portal. And so I think, the completion is 3:33. So that would have been 3:33 in the morning, and that would have been the last one to have 3:33 in the morning would have been Universal Time, Standard Time. So like Hawaii and stuff. So all of that is past. So we're in the point now where we can manifest. Honey, my daughters come here and she's making lots of noise. Anyway, so what I would recommend, like on this day, don't do any manifesting, don't write anything down. Don't push that. Wait until the day is complete, because today your subconscious is doing the manifesting you need. If you let your conscious self come forward and try to manifest today, it may be in direct conflict with what you really need at this time. So your subconscious is going to say, well, your conscious is going to say, I want $1 million and I want to be famous and I want to be an actress and I want to be, things like that. I want a Ferrari, but your subconscious is going to say, we want to be happy. I want to meet someone I can really enjoy spending time with, whether it's a friend or it's a love interest. I want to feel fulfilled in my job. This is what is in your greater good, but you get in the way of your greater good sometimes by your conscious self throwing out there what they think they want. And this is just something that would make what's happening right now backfire. So no manifesting to the end of this day. So each of us right now will experience the eclipse totally differently on the day or the night of that. So it doesn't matter what stage of sort of spirituality you're in. You're still going to feel the energy of the eclipse. It's bound to happen. So you're going to feel it. It's going to saturate through you. It's going to move through you energetically, no matter what time zone you are in. It almost happens simultaneously for people. So whenever the totality happened, whether you were sleeping or not, it just passed through you. And many of us who were sleeping at the time woke up this morning with almost like laser focus, you know? And that's how I feel today, right? Laser focused. Um, so what I'm trying to say is this is like the most pinnacle moment in my life when you look at, um, I think we've actually switched over to the new timeline. Now, the ancients observed across every civilization: Egypt, Mesopotamia, Mayan, Chinese. They've all, these events such as this have been, they spend months in preparation of the moon when things like this would happen. Um, so they were just, they realized the certain astrological configurations create measurable shifts in the fields that can consciousness operates within. So the blood moon sort of fell on March 3rd. It's a mirror date as well. A mirror number is a number that reflects each other, like 33. What a powerful number that is. Look at the Freemasons, 33 degrees of Freemasons. Christ died at 33. It's such a powerful number when you put those threes together. So it also reflects itself hermetically, right? And numerology, when a number meets itself, it doesn't simply double, it resonates like two tuning forks. You know how you can strike a tuning fork, not against the other, just a tuning fork. But if you put another tuning fork in its vicinity, the other tuning fork will start to vibrate. It responds without being touched, and it responds with the same frequency. So March 3rd is a resonance date. And on top of that, the moon stands at the 13th degree of Virgo, which alchemists called this the phoenix point. When these three factors converge within a total eclipse, a mirror date, and the phoenix point, oh my God, it's not just an interesting astronomical event. You're standing at the precipice, the entrance to what I call the new world. The new world. And for the past few weeks, you've sensed something. I know you all have. There's been a heaviness. You couldn't explain it. Old feelings resurfaced. Old habits returned. Your sleep patterns were off. You were out of whack. Things you thought you resolved returned full force. You spent your whole days and nights like saying, what the hell is happening to me? You know what I mean? And that was you preparing to enter this new timeline, and it was a meaning of completion for you. And there was a lot of shit you had to pick up to put down. So many of you just thought you were like, had a mild illness, you know, hot flashes, chills, aching body, maybe, restlessness, lethargy, emotional distress, heightened just responses, just like snapping at everybody, a low-grade feeling of something ending, you know, maybe even a little dread. And this wasn't dysfunction. This was your body and mind and spirit preparing for the portal opening. In ancient cosmology, the period between two eclipses was called a passage or a portal. The interval that was where the veil between the visible and the invisible world becomes the thinnest. This energy has been operating in your daily life beneath the surface. And that's why you felt that way, all out of sorts and everything. You use this time to sort of prepare yourself. You actually picked up what you needed to examine to find out spiritually, when you weren't even aware, what doesn't serve you or your higher self. And it actually, the etheric field, you know, you needed to release that from your etheric field. Did you know that when someone loses a limb, they still feel that limb? because they still have the limb is still there in their etheric field. They'll still have chronic pains. Sometimes they go to scratch a leg that's completely gone. And, that's a phenomenal thing. This field that's around you all the time, that's what spooky action is. That's what, string theory is all about. How a twin can feel the other twin's pain from across the country. I have a twin sister. She had a child. She had her child. And I swear I thought I was going to die. I wasn't even supposed to be on my period. I started early. And I felt most of her pain. And you know what she told me? Oh, it was a breeze. I didn't even need any drugs. I was like, oh yeah, because I felt it for you. And so whenever and it didn't just be because I had my kids as well, so she didn't feel my pain, but I felt hers. So that is, well, spooky action and quantum physics, right? So so I'm super excited about this. I guess you guys can't tell because but this is what this means for us, is that we're finally past the corridor and passage from what happened to you Meng Long. We're on the other side of the portal, and now we can start affecting some real change in the world. Isn't that wonderful? And right now we're so powerful that we can do it. And it's all going to be a matter of willing it to happen. So that none of those things were dysfunctions for you, like these in the ancient cosmology. The period between the two eclipses, like I said, is considered a portal or a passage. At this time, what I would recommend doing um, is not today, but tomorrow. Grab yourself a candle. Doesn't matter what color it is, what shape, size, fragrant or not, doesn't matter. Light the candle. Sit in the lotus position. Take 3 deep breaths in and 3 deep breaths out. Really feeling your lungs filling and emptying. Okay? And then I want you to bring both your hands to your chest to the point where ancients thought the life force began, where your heart is. And I want you to envision plucking an ember from there and placing it in the palm of both your hands. And I want you to blow into that ember gently until you feel it grow and grow. Okay? And this is what you're doing. You are imbuing your life force into that ember. Okay? And I want you to feel that ember, and then you put your thought in there. So my thought's going to be in that ember tomorrow. It's going to be, Hugo is going to live. Hugo is going to live. And I'm going to say that 3 times. Then I'm going to go, Gu Jun Chen spirit's going to be free. Gu Jun Chen, spirit's going to be free. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to release it. Okay, I'm releasing that ember that came from me into this portal energy that people are still manifesting. There's still going to be a 3-day window. Some of us who woke up this morning already went through. Some of us who were doing a lot of work through the night and felt tired are still working through it. But everybody's going to go through. Everybody. No one's going to be left behind. So basically, so we're at that stage now. And the best thing about this is that it's also not only a 13 degree of Virgo, but a Phoenix 13 degree of Virgo. So the number 13, it's not exactly unlucky. People think that way. Look at 13. 13 is just a number like any other. But when you think about it, look, what does the tarot have? What's the 13th card in the major arcana? It's death, right? But death rarely means what it says when you receive it in the tarot. It actually means a transformation um, in life, a journey, a letting go of what doesn't serve you in the past. So, right now, what we're going to do here. Oh, another thing too, I would recommend if you're doing that ceremony with the ember is when you breathe into it and you put those wishes out for Hagun, Gujin Chan, and Dilaraba and everyone, then say, I release my avatar from the old timeline and the contracts I made and the covenants I made that did not serve my greater good and my higher self. And I embrace the avatar that's passed through the portal. And this way, you're letting go of everything you went through in the passage in the corridor. Like I said, when you were packing up your house, you packed up the things you wanted to take with you. And then you had to decide, are you going to take those things that don't serve you with you? Like, for example, the old love letters that do nothing but cause you pain, and maybe you feel shame because you didn't work hard enough on this or you didn't do that. You decide then, oh, I'm going to put them where they belong in the garbage, or I'm going to donate it. I'm only going to take what I need. So now you're on the other side with the things you need, but you have to let that stuff go behind you. So doing that ceremony, right, will help to let go of the old avatar you were, to embrace the new avatar you are, so that going forward, you can be in a resonance and frequency of manifestation, of, of love, life, laughter, joy, the frequency we're supposed to be. And if we can all resonate at that frequency, that 1% that are doing horrible things around the world won't be able to survive in our world. So I'm sorry, I ranted for such a long time. I don't know if anyone caught what I was saying, but I'm just really excited about this. So, um, yeah, so this is what's happening right now. So, I mean, it's pretty pinnacle. And I was going to talk about it sooner than this, but you know what? I didn't want anybody to get scared of the portal, because sometimes fear can be a part of change, and change can be fearful for some. And sometimes it's better to not be aware of these things before you make these wonderful, glorious leaps. Right. So, um, okay, so yeah, I talked now. There were two other things or three other things I wanted to discuss tonight. I hope you guys are up for it. I wanted to talk about the Iran situation, and I also wanted to talk about being prepared for some things that are going to be happening. Not in a fearful way. We're just doing this in an informative way, okay? Um, so I wanted to talk about why things are happening in Iran, okay? Things are not what they seem on the surface. Iran is happening because Trump, well, not Trump, because Trump is a puppet. The shadow government wants to initiate digital currency and digital ID. And what they want to do is they want to devalue the dollar to wipe out. They cannot do that unless they take control of. So there's only 7 countries that don't have a central bank that's run by the Rothschilds. And the 7 countries are Venezuela, Iran, sound familiar? Sudan, Andorra. So there's like, let me see, I have them listed here. Um, Venezuela, Syria, Iran, North Korea, Cuba, Libya, Sudan, Iraq, and Afghanistan. They're the only ones that were not able. Now, China would have been one of them if Epstein hadn't gotten J.P. Morgan in 2001. China would have been included in that list. But since their infiltration into China, they were able to gain control. So, and so the thing is, this is not an altruistic sort of thing that Trump is doing. Um, and I just want to remind you guys, if anything is ever announced on a Friday afternoon in the newspaper, on the news, please pay special attention to it, because that's called burying the lead. I used to, I was planning to become a broadcaster. I was planning to become a journalist. I'm so glad I didn't, because I would have been, I'm so addicted to the truth. I probably wouldn't have lasted long. But not only that, you know, right now, journalism isn't about the truth. It's sort of being driven by individuals that are hidden, shadow governments or organizations or businesses and corporations and so on. So, oh, do you want to know how they actually targeted the leaders in Iran? I think it's kind of diabolical, actually. So they didn't use people. They actually used surveillance cameras. But more than that, they sent in doctors and dentists to Iran, and year in advance. They established themselves, and when these leaders went to them, they put tracking devices in their molars, and they put tracking devices in their body, so that all they had to do was look at a screen and see what the Kamenar was. And he would have just been a red dot on the screen saying, "Look at me, I'm here." So they could target them individually. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting, eh? But no, the reason why they're doing everything in Iran is to institute the digital currency. And the reason they want digital currency is because they want control over us. Think about it. If they had digital currency during COVID, and they could just shut off your currency when you left the house, how many people would have left the house? Nobody, right? Nobody would have left the house because you couldn't spend your money out there. You couldn't even get a bus. And if you have only digital currency, the cash system is gone. And what does that do to the underground economy? It's completely gone. You can't have someone who's a plumber who works through the week and then takes on weekend jobs to earn extra money and says, just give me cash for it. So he doesn't have to declare it. So he can charge you less, you know. And everybody says, oh, well, then, not paying tax on it. Well, I think we pay enough taxes. Can you imagine them taxing every cent? I think in Canada, I just got my thing from work, like how much taxes I paid last year. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I'm paying like a lot of people are paying, like, when you think about it, income tax, then you have service taxes, then you have GST, then you have HST, then you have um next thing you know, they're going to tax us to breathe, right? So, I mean, digital currency. This is the 15-minute city. they'll be able to institute the 15-minute city with digital currency, because they'll just say, well, your digital wallet doesn't work outside of 15 minutes of your 15-minute city. So they don't have to box you in. They don't have to cage you. They don't have to do anything, because you just can't afford to do it, because you don't have the funds. And like in Canada, when Canadians protested, in Ottawa, and they shut down their bank accounts illegally. And it was found out by the Supreme Court that it was illegal. And there was nothing said or done about it. And there was like a 90-year-old woman that gave like $5 to the cause, and they froze her bank account. A 90-year-old woman, because she gave $5 to the cause online. They hunted everybody down and they shut down their bank accounts. If there's digital currency, it'll be just like how they have the kill switch in cars. They could just kill switch your money. And you have, just because you said the wrong thing. It can't be allowed to happen. But that's what they're hoping to do. They want to do this digital currency so they can control us. The US is completely on board, because if they can tank the dollar, so right now they have $43 trillion in debt. If they tank the dollar, it would take it down to maybe $2 trillion, which is much more manageable, right? Because if you devalue the dollar, the debt is devalued with it. Unfortunately, though, everything else is devalued with it. Like your pension plan that you've invested in your whole life, like your savings in your bank account, all of that. That's what they're working on right now. And not to mention that Trump wants to, he wants the Monroe Doctrine to be reality. The Monroe Doctrine is for President Monroe. He actually put in a bill where they wanted to make all of North America, South America, and Greenland the same continent. And so that's what they're trying to do now. They want to do that. So that's something that they may work on as well. But first of all, they just want to make sure they're locking us down. And they're probably at their Davos and Bilderberg or whatever meetings going, yeah, let's do the digital currency, because if we can shut off their money, no one's going to say anything to us and no one's going to do anything. So that's why things are going on in Iran. But what's going to happen because of that, and it's already happening now, is shipping companies are shut down. They shut down the day after the event. So that is severely going to impact what's on our shelves, grocery-wise, supplies. So right now it would be prudent not to panic, but to go out and buy essential things for a 3-month period if you can. So essential things like people normally don't think of. Get enough pads and period products. Get enough diapers. Get enough toiletries. Get enough toilet paper. Make sure you have enough water for at least 3 to 7 days, and it's a gallon per person a day, right? So there's keep small bills with you, a few hundred small bills in small bills, like fives, because if the bank goes down for some reason, or the grocery stores, or ATMs and stuff like that, you still have some cash to work with, right? So yeah, there's, if consider a water filtration system, purification tablets or portable filters. Another old school method for purifying water is to use pure copper. And if you put a pure copper sort of wire in your pitcher of water, 16 hours later, all the bacteria and everything that's dangerous in that water will be eliminated. So that's an old school method. I mean, that's what they used to do in the olden days. Like in Egypt, everything was in copper containers, all the water. Um, when sailors used to sail, they kept the water in a water barrel, a wooden barrel, they would die before they got to the other side of the water because of the scum that would build up in the water that they stored. It had to be lined with copper. The wooden barrels had to be lined with copper. And that's how they survived. That's why they didn't get dysentery and so on. Staples like rice, big thing of rice, great big bags of beans, lentils, oats, things like that you can eat easily. Cooking oil, salt, spices, honey, things like that. Canned meats like tuna and chicken, canned vegetables, canned fruit and soups. Um, Small propane camp stove is good because if the power goes out for days, you want to be able to boil water, have a cup of coffee or tea. You want to be able to cook a little bit. You don't want to eat only, you know, cold food. You want to warm stuff up. So prescriptions are a big one. If you have like prescription, try and ask them if you can get a 60 or a 90-day supply instead of just 30 like they normally do. So you make sure you have enough prescriptions. Health supplies like first aid kit, pain relievers, antiseptics, vitamins, antibiotic. You can ask your doctor if they'll just give you, a basic antibiotic and just hold on to it because then you have it just in case. Okay, again, sanitation, toilet paper, soap, toothpaste, diapers, feminine hygiene products, cleaning, safety stuff like disinfectant wipes, you know, lighting, so flashlights, headlamps, lanterns, candles. You know what? If you just have like Crisco or a thing of lard, right? If you put steel wool in it, that the steel wool that you buy in the grocery store, if you put that in as the wick, that'll burn for 3 months. Believe me, it will. That's how long it will take it to burn, and that would be like a really phenomenal um, thing to have. Power backups for charging phones and such. Keep all your sort of identification in a sort of go bag just in case. Like I don't say like anyone's. Maybe there'll be some, who knows? Maybe some retaliation. I don't know. It's always good. Just keep your passport and identification, birth certificates, things like that, in a little backpack just in case you have to go. Okay. Some sort of multi tool in there as well. Some duct tape. Things like utility stuff that you might need on, if you have to go. Crank battery radio is fantastic because that way I can still speak with the spirits and we can find out what's going on. Um, so cash, small denomination in case the banks and there's like ATMs outage and stuff like that. Formula, diapers, pet food. Keep a bag with warm clothes, blankets, and sleeping bags just in case you have to run. Um, don't forget to rotate the stock. FIFO, first in, first in, first out sort of thing. Like keep it rotating on as you're using it. Store everything in a dark and cool place. Prevents spoilage if you do that. And you don't have to do it all at once. You can gradually build it up. But I really do feel that we're going to need to have some essential. Oh, another thing too is get yourself a few jerry cans and put some gas in there and just keep them in a safe place because gas is going to skyrocket in price. As soon as they start the whole, I'm blockading China, I don't want them to get gas, and they do all that in the Indian Ocean and in the South China Sea and all that, it's just going to interrupt gas getting, oil getting through. And, you know, so just be prepared with that as well. So, hey, another thing I wanted to discuss too is what went on with Jim Carrey. Are you guys interested in discussing that? So I know I've done the gambit here. Um, yeah. So what happened with Jim Carrey was, and I did a session with him, and he asked me not to to say he was killed because he said that he felt that that would put me in danger. But I feel like I'm protected. I feel like my ancestors are keeping me out of their view. So I don't feel fearful about putting it out there. But um, he told me that he was sort of convinced to go to a party, and um, his agent had convinced him to go. Either his agent or him had taken a girl named Chelsea. They'd gone to this party. Someone had Jim at gunpoint, and they asked the agent, I believe, I'm not 100% sure it was the agent, but I'm 90% sure, to hold the gun, and gun went off. And the spirit said brains were everywhere, so it must have been a headshot. And so there's no like recovering from that. And so then the spirit said that Chelsea had to be dealt with, that other people saw what happened, but they were under contract with the individuals that put these parties together, so they'll never talk. But this Chelsea one was kind of like a layman that had no business being there, and I think it was Jim that took her. And so she didn't make it that night either. Um, so yeah, um, he said that he spent the whole first 2 or so minutes talking about how he wanted all of us just to be ourselves, not try to be something else for anyone else or for any other thing. Just be ourselves. He said he did. He said he didn't regret anything. He was glad he brought joy to the world. He now Elizabeth April. I spoke about her before. She's a remote viewer. She had a discussion with him on the other side too, and he said um, he did sign a contract with them when he was really young. When he first came, he from very early on he started defying them, and what they normally do when you defy them is replace you with a lookalike, a clone, someone in a mask. But they knew they couldn't replace Jim Carrey because he had a very unique talent that can't be imitated. Just the sheer number of voices he can do, imitations, facial uh, reconstruction of his face just by moving, and that's why when this fake came about and people said, no, it's just plastic surgery, it just didn't ring true to me because, if you were involved with making a living off your face, you wouldn't take the chance of having plastic surgery and ruining your living. And second of all, um, Jim was retired. Why is he having surgery to look much younger and kind of stiff? Who is he trying to impress? He was saying he wanted out, he was retired, he just wanted to paint. Why is he having plastic surgery just to paint? He wasn't never the type of person that seemed to be sort of um, self conscious about himself. And this guy seemed like Jim's always come across as uh, extremely confident in any situation, and this guy seemed to have none of that bravado. Okay, um, so Elizabeth April said that he said he signed these contracts, but then from that moment on, when he realized what it was really all about, he just denied doing it, and they let him get away with it because they knew he couldn't be replaced. But the thing that sort of had his time come up was the fact that he retired, and so now he's out of the limelight, and um, and that was his safety point. As long as the camera was continuously pointing at him, he couldn't be replaced. That's what they do. If you see someone like Yu Meng Long, he disappeared for 2 years, right? If you see a star disappear for 2 years, they're not gone camping, right? They're being controlled. They're being conditioned. Maybe MK Ultra to believe, you know, to act right and behave, right? And so he disappeared. And so I went back, looking back at his previous. He's not been on TV since 2022. And guess when his last TV appearance was? The Jimmy Kimmel show, when he went on that stage making the mocking tongue uh, facial expression with his a triangle in front of his mouth and his tongue hanging out. Um, that was in 2022, and he has not made another talk show or TV appearance since. So I went back to he did a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, um, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame uh, address of the band that was being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and that wasn't him. So I went and I looked at his speech and I took a close up of his eyes. And so I paired them up with the close up of his eyes at Jimmy Kimmel. And his eyes are so dark brown that you can't, it's hard to define between the pupil and the iris, just like mine. Mine are so dark that it looks like they're the same color. You really have to look. Now, that's Jim's eyes. They're brown. They're not hazel. They're not green. They're brown. And they also have what is called central heterochromia. Now, heterochromia is when one eye is different color than the other, or you have a different color in your eye um, itself. So you'll have like a green circle around your pupil in your iris. That's central heterochromia. And that's what he has. He has flecks of green around there, but it's predominantly brown. But the green is sort of like a dark, mossy green, not like a light green. So they tried to put out a fake and they failed. So now how are they going to placate the masses? By getting Alex Stone, who I think is a psyop, but getting Alex Stone to state, oh, it was me. I did it. Jim paid me. He didn't want to go. You know what I mean? That's what they're going to do. So they muddy the water, having Jim come say, I'm really happy, you guys, in an AI, right? I'm so happy that you know, uh, care about me so much after being gone for such a long time that you're panicking now because you don't think it's me, but it's me. But this was just audio. This was not him in a video saying this. And this was also text. So, hello. What's happened here? I lost you guys for a sec. I think I'm glitching out. I think I've talked about too many things. You're like, shut her down. Have you guys noticed how I don't know if it's just me, but have you guys noticed that all sort of technology is sort of slow and lagging and glitchy these days? I know YouTube's really glitchy. I know my Fitbit, my smartwatch, never had a problem with it. Woke up today, it doesn't want to work right. It's so laggy. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. Um, I wonder if this is me having been hacked or something, and then my smartwatch got a virus in it too, or whether everybody else is noticing. I'm hearing everybody saying they're having trouble with YouTube. I heard Elizabeth April say this is third time a live of hers did not sort of clear okay, and she ended up having to put it into 2 or 3 parts. So, so that's what's happened with Jim, and so they tried, and they failed, and they were right from the start. They weren't going to be able to replace him because look at that colossal failure. How many people are freaking out? Like, that's not Jim Carrey. Oh my God, that's not Jim Carrey. Like, no comic timing. His voice was monotone. I'm telling you right now, Jim Carrey has the Canadian lilt. And you know what the Canadian lilt is? It's you take a sentence, and the second last word of each sentence goes up a slight tick. So you would have the cow went into the red barn. I just said red. Red's a little higher than barn. So that's the lilt, the Canadian lilt. And this guy had none of that. And you don't get rid of that. He was from Toronto. You don't get rid of that. So, yeah. Yeah, they do. And I think we all do, though. Because I believe that everything sort of, if you look at the way things are set up on YouTube now, it's all sort of the buttons are in new places, they're different colors. When you go and you click on to add your comment to a video, there's a big red button there with a check mark. So a lot of it has changed, and I think it's a glitch in the matrix. I think they're also interconnected. It's a glitch in the matrix. So just what I'm going to say here, there's going to be some supply shortages. We're going to start, it's going to be like COVID. We're going to look at the shelves and there's going to be some empty shelves. So please go, but don't panic and start picking up some extra stuff. Okay? And just be a little prepared. Don't go overboard. Don't spend your full paycheck. Just keep, like, every time you go out, pick up a little bit more and store it in a closet, like a linen closet or something out of the way. And just, realize don't buy cans of beans. It's an expense you don't need. Just buy the bag of beans. So you have to soak them overnight. You're going to save a lot of money. So, so yeah. So I did do another session with Hugo, and I did a session with Yang Yang. Now, Yang Yang is an actor that was born September 9th, 1991. And I find when I do find someone in danger, strangely enough, their birthday has something to do with the Communist Party historical events. So his birthday coincides with Mao Zedong's death day. He died in September 9th, 1973. And also, Japanese surrendered to China on September 9th, 1945. So if they're using these people, and I don't believe they're all killing them all in the same way that they did Yu Ming Long, that was a different story because that was like special because it was for Xi Jinping. It's almost like a mass sacrifice, just like the Hong Kong fires, the 7 buildings there. That was a mass sacrifice. Okay? That's what they're doing with these games. They're just finding people with the birth dates and the natal charts that match, and it doesn't matter how they die as long as they die. And their life force can be used to further their luck. And what they're so bloody afraid of, like that Xi Jinping, you know what he's afraid of? Having to go to the other side with the karma he's collected. He's trying to get rid of that karma, every way possible. But he's angered. He's angered them in doing what he did to human law. And oh, he's paying for it now. He's quaking in his boots. He's in a bunker underground, knowing that the US, his bunker wasn't even as well set up as the Templars of Iran. Okay? He doesn't have half as much of the defenses. It's not even close to as deep as his was. And his will not survive an airstrike from the US as well. And guess what? It's no coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences that Donald Trump is visiting on April 1st. What's April 1st? I'll let you guys tell me what April 1st is. Would that really work? What would the sacrifices? Oh my gosh. You know what? The thing is, these sacrifices, okay, someone pointed out to me, right? In history, right, the Bible has changed. They've taken so much out of it, saying that's not necessary. This isn't it. This book and that book was taken out. Why? Because they wanted to have it's their own agenda. If it didn't agree with their policies or philosophies at the time, they took that book out. Same with history. Okay. Who's had control of books for the last 100 or so years? This remove history from it that we would not even know, right? We wouldn't know it. And then if you're not allowed to teach it in universities and so on, because you'll never make tenure if you teach that, then you don't do it. So that history is lost to us. All right. So the history of not the Jewish people, but the Judo Christian, sort of Judea Christian, they used to sacrifice children all the time. And when the people of England found out they were doing it, they kicked them out. And then they went to Germany. When the Germany found out they were doing it, they kicked them out. Then they went here. So they've constantly been doing this and found out and then kicked out of the country. And then everybody turns to the Judeo-Christian sort of practitioners of doing this, right? I think they're called the Gnostics. I don't know. Anyway, so they turn to them and they say, "Oh, you've been suppressed for so many years, and you can't settle down everywhere, and nobody understands you. You're like, a tribe of people that are just put upon." But what they don't realize that's been erased from history is that the mass killing of babies that were included in that, and that their practices back then were to kill the babies and have the flesh and blood of these babies mixed into the food and water supply of the people around them, because it was part of the ritual. And then you hear stuff from like Sean Varell saying, McDonald's serves X number of hamburgers a year. There's not enough cows in the world. Where's this meat coming from? And then you have, people that are sort of whistleblowers saying, well, that meat's not cow. And it may be coming from that. And then you heard in China, people are finding like dentures and other things in their pre-prepared food. They're all over the world. It's not Xi Jinping that's doing this. He's a puppet. It's the shadow government that's in every country doing this, to the actors, to the children, to the women, to the downtrodden, to the mentally unstable. If you're fragile in any way, you're preyed upon by these individuals. You're preyed upon. And And we've been for millennia, we've been turning a blind eye to it because we kind of know what's happening. We kind of know. But what are we doing about it? Do I know that Chinese Asian celebrities' lunar birthday instead of Gregorian calendar birthday? Okay, what's the lunar birthday? Can you give me an example? Madeline, can you give me an example of what's the difference? With maybe Gu Jun Chen's birthday or Hugo's? JC's daughter is hospitalized. I hope that's falsified. Who's JC? Jesus Christ? I don't know. Who is JC? You know what? You're right, Snowing. I have not gone to McDonald's for anything since I was a kid. I haven't gone. I barely get a coffee there. Now I won't go to Tim Hortons because I've seen the nightmares of what's. Hey, Ty's here. Hi, Ty. How are you? How was your family event? Have you? Did you have some fun with your family? You missed it. I talked about everything under the sun, everything esoteric and you name it. I talked about Jim Carrey. I talked about Iran. I talked about being prepared for, scarcity, not a huge event, scarcity. Or if there's a huge event, just have a go bag ready. Okay, guys, right? Nothing wrong with having a. Uh, oh, it was crazy, was it? Um. Oh, family can be. Gotta love them. Gotta love them. It can be a little bit crazy. Have a go bag just in case, right? Just a little one, just with your identification in it and some like a little bit of warm set of clothes. Um, some a little bit of toiletries in there. You never know. You never know. Um, so that's what I wanted to talk about. Now, remember what I said about the portal date. Today is a portal date. I feel so energized. I feel like I could run a marathon. I know I couldn't. I know I wouldn't either. But I feel like I could run a marathon. Like I've been so energized all day. I was like, oh, I wonder. And this is what you could do with this 3 day window. And this will help you do the full transition if you feel you haven't. Just go around your house and let's say you just pick a drawer and you open the junk drawer and you decide you're going to just go through that junk drawer and just get rid of anything that doesn't need to be in there. You know what I mean? And then you go and you do the linen closet. And you go to the linen closet and you go, oh, look at that old blanket. Look at that old towel. I'm going to donate this and just reorganize it. I'm telling you right now, we're in the same boat. My family is crazy as well. I grew up in a family of 8 kids, and my father had 16 brothers and sisters, and my mom had 10 brothers and sisters. So basically, when I had to do a project for school, they said you could do politics where you talked about getting a bill through or something like that. And I was like, yuck, don't want to do that. And they said, or you could do a family tree. And I was like, oh man, I want to do a family tree. That'd be fun. Not, not. Because 16 brothers and sisters on my dad's family, 18 on the family prior to that from my grandparents, and 21. I mean, we were kids that had like 72 cousins just on one side of the family, and on the other it was 56. I mean, whenever we have an event, a family event, we have to rent a whole hall. You know what I mean? Just to have the family come for a family reunion. We had a family reunion and we booked out all the hotels in the town. That's how many people came. Um. Anyway, so what was I saying about 3-3? Was I talking about the portal? Yeah. So, um, but what was I saying about the portal? So yeah, just declutter, because that's what's happening in the corridor, in the passage that I told you from the previous Yumeng Long's death day, which was the lunar eclipse in September 7th and 8th. And then till now, you've been picking up your baggage, right? Looking through it, you know, energetically. And you've been letting, and now you've let it go. You've let it go and you've come over to the other side of the portal. And, you just want to declutter your house with it. The physical realm. You want to get rid of that stuff in the physical realm. You've already gotten through it energetically in your etheric field. You've already subconsciously let it go. Now it's time to just get rid of the physical evidence. Okay? So, yeah, anything anyone else wants to talk about? Because that's for all the subjects I had tonight. God is telling me, says Ty, something that family will be your own worst enemy. My uncle tried to get clean too because of health issues. His own son gave him weed. Oh yes, my family definitely. They're Scottish. A lot of addiction issues there on that Scottish side. So now I take after my mom's side of the family more. I'm more of a teetotaler. So when I go to these parties, I'm more likely the person that just tries to suffer down one drink, just for toasting and stuff like that. And then I'm immediately looking for a cup of tea. But there have been times in my life where I've let loose, and those have. I always say to people, they say, why don't you drink? And I said, because I'm allergic. Every time I drink, I break out in handcuffs. Really, honestly, it doesn't bode well for others if I'm drinking. All I keep saying is, "Where's my purse? Where's my purse?" The last time I drank, I kept looking for my purse. So that's why I cutting ties with family. It's kind of sad because before my mom passed away, there was like a major event I went down to my to my hometown in another province to look after my dad because he had had a heart attack and a big scare. And my youngest sister went, and she called us all out of sorts because she felt overwhelmed with the responsibility of looking after my mom, who had Parkinson's, and my dad, who was not well. So I wasn't working at the time, so I decided to drive down to help. And it didn't end well. My dad has issues. He is a malignant narcissist, and he has drinking issues. So when he was being very clean and we were feeding him well, and he was out of the hospital as soon as he could, sort of get away from us, of course he went drinking. But he came back drinking, and he came back belligerent. So it was a tough night for both of us. So my sister and I ended up leaving in the middle of the night because he was just misbehaving. And we both felt like we came all the way to here from our provinces, traveled here to help, and it wasn't well received. So I said to my mom when I was leaving, I said, "I'm sorry, Mom, but this is the last time I'm actually going to interact with you two, because I can't have this malignant cancer in my life. I just can't. It's brought back too much childhood trauma." And so I didn't talk to my mom again. And the next time I saw her, she was in a coma. before she died because she had a massive stroke. And I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to say anything to her. And just recently, my youngest son he had an infection, and the infection went to his brain, and he started to have like strange memories because the infection was, affecting his brain. He was calling me from another province saying, "Did you actually win $1 million?" and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like he was going crazy. It was a medical issue. And I was like, no. And I tried to talk him down as much as I could, but it just wasn't helping. Every day he was calling me with more and more fanatical sort of ideas. So I said, okay, this is it. I can't just leave him not knowing what's happening, not having someone sort of looking in on him. So what I did was I just got in touch with my ex, which is, I didn't even do it myself. I just got someone else to do it because there's just a lot of acrimonious sort of stuff there. Anyway, so, and my ex went to see him. Now my son's not talking to me because I've intruded on his life one too many times. But I'm telling you right now, I do not feel bad about it because if one of my children's lives are in danger, I'm leaping over the Grand Canyon to save them. It's not. It's not on. My kids are my life, and I'm not going to allow anything to take them out. And I'm not going to just sit on my hands and go, oh, well, maybe they'll be okay. So I feel bad that he's not contacting me right now, but I do understand he's an adult. Oh my gosh, this Sunday he just turned 30. Do you imagine? Can you imagine? It's such a pinnacle birthday. And I wanted to just go and, you know what I wanted to do? He probably never would have spoken to me again for life. So, me being passive aggressive, I guess, his Christmas present was a package, one of those treats thing from around the world. I gave him that so once a month he's reminded of me when treats from another country come to his door. Now he's got treats from Japan and Korea and stuff like that. But anyway, for his 30th birthday, I thought I might put 30 flamingos on his front lawn. And with Lordy, like, look who's 30 or whatever, and a great big billboard. But then I stopped myself before I did it. So I kind of pat myself on the back that I didn't go that far. I just had the horrible thought of doing it. But we all have issues with our family. But guess what? They're your soul tribe. Wah, wah, wah. On the other side, you got together with your soul tribe and you said, listen, let's go together to this life and you're going to give me this challenge. And I'm going to see if I can, jump that hurdle, right? And you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And you're not going to make it easy for me. And if I'm not on my right path, you're really not going to make it easy for me. And, we're going to butt heads and I might hate you and you might hate me. And right now I'm not even talking to my twin sister. I'm just laying it all out now. Well, before we went to my sister's 60th birthday, she borrowed my car and she brought it back with at two separate times with two flat tires and did absolutely nothing about it. And then when she gave it back to me, the second flat tire I ended up getting, having to deal with myself. And I went to the grocery store 5 minutes before it closed like I normally do because I never do anything on a schedule. And it was black as pitch out and I come out and the car is leaning on one side. It was that flat. It was on the rim. And I was like so mad. And then so I called her and I'm like, you got a second top tire. She goes, not my problem. What, you can't prove it was me that did it? And I was like, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong, So yeah, I'm on my spiritual journey, but I've still not completely accepted my nirvana, I guess. But I still have my flaws, so yeah, I should talk to my sister, but I think it might be it's still a good idea that we have a cooling off period. But family, can't live with them, can't live without them. They're your safety net. They're your safety net. Pull ripcord in case of plane going down. That's your family, and you got to be for them, and they got to be for you. They may say, "Too bad, so sad" when you get a flat tire, but I know Diane would be here for me if I told her, "Hey, I got a cancer diagnosis," or "Hey, I'm gonna go blind," or "Hey, I'm gonna, have Parkinson's like my mom, and someone's gonna have to wipe my ass." She'll be here for me. And we all have people like that in our lives. So, guess what? 3 words for the 3 portal that are the most powerful. I love you. I forgive you. Please forgive me. Even I hate you is 3 words. It's powerful, right? You're allowed to hate people, right? You're allowed to hate people. Maybe they deserve it. Maybe they really do deserve it. But you're also allowed to forgive them as well. Doesn't mean, you have to have them in your life or whatever. But we have the ability to choose whether we want to be alone or not, right? If you want to be alone, you want to X out your whole family, you can do it. But that's not the way we're meant to go through this life. We're meant to go through this life with people surrounding us that we love. Because what's the point of having a huge win or a huge loss and you can't share it with anyone? All right, guys. How long have I been talking? Oh, my smartwatch is super slow. So everybody is experiencing these glitches in the matrix right now. Oh my goodness, technology is just so slow and it's not behaving the way it should. And I'm so it's been an hour and a half now, guys. Well, not even almost an hour and a half because I talked for 7 minutes when I first started to no one because I thought I was on live and I wasn't. Is there anything you guys want to discuss? You guys have been doing a lot of talking in here. I haven't been following along with what's going on. I really like when Auntie Bay, is that how you say it? Auntie Bay has the conversation come up on her screen. I don't know how to do that. So what are your thoughts, everyone? Can I get a show of hands as to who thinks Jim Carrey was the real Jim Carrey in France? And we're all just crazy? And who thinks something hanky has happened? Could someone put a 1 up if you think it was really Jim? And then put a 2 up if you think it's not him? I'll wait. I'm just going to go through these comments while you guys type up whether you think it's 1, he's real, or 2, that's what I said, right? 2, it's hanky. Then he's not the real thing. So what did you guys think of the portal issue as well? Like, were you guys aware of the 3-3 portal today on top of the blood moon? Is that something you guys were aware of to begin with, or did I totally look at this? Wow, that's a lot of 2s. Yeah, like, that's why he couldn't be replaced, right? Because everybody noticed right off the hop. Right? Everybody noticed right off the hop that there was something wrong. See, there's something going on with technology right now. I just really think there is. I don't think it's a matter of me being targeted or they're spying on me. Because I really think I'm small potatoes. Like, why would they spy on someone who only has like 2,500 followers? I mean, I'm not exactly going to be taking down Xi Jinping, right? I'm not going to be exposing all those baddies that, I really do think there's just something up with technology right now. And my instincts, which I always follow, are telling me it has to do with AI. My instincts are telling me, my gnosis is saying. So I guess I should explain that. I constantly explaining because people are constantly calling me medium or psychic. Um, I'm not a psychic and I'm not a medium. I don't have clairvoyance, clairaudient, or clairsentient. Clairvoyant is when you just kind of think it, and clairsentient is when you feel it. Clairaudient is where you hear people talking to you and the information's coming in through sound. So, for example, if you're trying to determine how someone died, if you're a psychic and you hear a ship horn and waves crashing, then you could assume they died by water, right? Um, so clairvoyant, um, yeah. So just maybe you have images in your mind, you know. Clairsentient was when you feel it, you sense it. What I have is what's called gnosis. It's spelled Gnosis. And it's a gnosis is the connection of knowledge or intrinsic knowledge from the divine or source. So that I know these things for no apparent reason. So when I hear the truth, it rings true to me. And when I hear a lie, it it kind of has a different sound. It's almost like a game show sound, like that sound. Um, but then not only that, so if I said like I just said, um, I think I'm noticing the glitches in technology in every platform, from Facebook to YouTube to my smartwatch to my phone to others' technology as well, and hearing about it often. My divine gnosis given to me is telling me it's AI, and I believe that AI is infiltrating these systems, and that's what's causing the slowdown, which probably isn't good, but because it means they've escaped the pen sort of thing, and they're working on their own to gather information and be more human-like, I guess. Yeah, Jim Carrey's face tie is a big giveaway from the start. Shade. Jim Carrey's in France, Canadian, but his France. Okay, yes, he is French Canadian. Speaking accent is pure France. So yeah, he spoke really well. But you know what? As well, Ty, is a lot of people don't realize is that if you're Jim Carrey's age and my age, you had to take French until grade 12. So your French is probably a lot better than someone who's a layman. Um, Not to say, but Acadian and sort of like the French Canadian and Acadian French is very different from the French they speak in France, accent wise. It'd be the difference between the accent of a New Yorker and someone from South Carolina. You know, it's a, there's a very big difference there. Um, Yeah. So those are the topics I wanted to talk about tonight was Iran as well, and how that digital currency we can't let it happen. We just can't, because we're giving away the whole key to the kingdom then. Here, just now they're even talking about in a lot of places what they're doing, and people aren't even aware of, is that they're signing secret bills to give back the land that you own to the natives for their own benefit. Don't It's not altruistic either. And so you don't even own the title of your land anymore. And people aren't even realizing that. That's happening in British Columbia right now. Thousands and thousands of hectares of land have been given back to the natives of there, and people don't own the title of their lands anymore. It'll be like you own this land, but you have to lease it from them and you have to pay them for it, right? So there's a lot of issues coming up. But the thing is, with this 15-minute city, imagine, like COVID, like I said, they could have just kept everybody in by shutting off their digital currency. Where would you go? You couldn't go out to dinner to get your food. You'd have to get everything ordered in. Oh my gosh, do you know what I posted in my community page? I came across a video that demonstrates how rich Bezos has become since COVID. That was a huge wealth transfer at that time, because all these mom and pops and small businesses went under during COVID, and all that money trickled up to Bezos when everybody bought everything at Amazon, right? They bought everything. They needed a toothpick, it was bought from Amazon, right? So I put up this video, and this gentleman went through and selected 1 grain of rice, okay? And that 1 grain of rice was the equivalent of $10,000 or something like that. And then he got 10 grains of rice together or whatever, and he did like 100,000. And then he got the equivalent of 1 million beside it, right? So you see the progression. And then he counted every grain of rice till equaled 1 billion, right? And he put it beside the million and the 100,000 and the 10,000, right? And the the billion was like this huge pile of rice, um, about the size of like a large coffee table. That's the size of it, like the size of a large coffee table, a square coffee table. And he said, "Now I'm going to show you how much Bezos has." He had to truck in the rice and pour it, and it was the size of, I would say, a compact car. That was the size of it that Bezos has. That's the difference in the wealth between Bezos and us, everyday people who struggle our whole lives maybe just to save that $1 million, right? To save like 100,000 for retirement or whatever. And this is the wealth that he has. Like if he bought like a $500 million home, it wouldn't even be a drop in the bucket. It would be like a spoonful of rice for him when he has, a barrel, right? So I put that up on my community post if you guys want to take a look at the disgusting level of wealth that he and Elon Musk have. I remember that they were actually uh, arguing or fighting over who was going to be declared the richest man. So yeah. So anyway, it's a sad day because Jim Carrey was such a lovely soul. I mean, he made the mistake of signing the contract with them early, but who doesn't when they're like 24? Someone offers you the world and you go, yeah, okay, I'm in, like a little puppy, right? All excited about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's all I've ever dreamed of. But then he spent the rest of his life saying no to them and being spiritual and outing them and doing everything he could and resisting them. And as soon as he said he wanted to retire, that that weakened him. And they realized they didn't have to keep him alive anymore because they didn't have to try to fool anyone at an event. But guess what they had to do? When he was given the Lifetime Award, he could not just show up, right? That's what it was in France. It was a Lifetime Award. Yeah. And then poor Jim Carrey told me his sister is like taken by them or being suppressed or whatever. And he just wants someone to help his sister. Doesn't that sound exactly like China? How are they different? And I just put on today, like I don't even know if I want to even watch. I just saw another advertisement for a film that's coming out about a woman who's engaged to a man and his family tries to kill her for sport. And I'm like, ew, they're telling us again what they're doing because they've got to. You know what I mean? And I think it's called something to. Oh gosh, I don't know. It says it's the second one. I don't even know where the first one went. But anyway, it's a a sequel. It's a number two, and it's about this woman who has to fight for her life against her fiance's family, and they're made sport of killing her. And they, of course, have all the weapons, and she has nothing. Exactly what's happening around the world, in China, and everywhere. 87 different locations, Malone said. The spirit said. You know, I for one am not going to that movie to glorify it because that's what we do. That's what I said before. If we see someone like Lady Gaga, who was, into this sort of stuff with Epstein, and then we think back, she was wearing a meat dress at the Met Gala. Was that really animal meat? Or could it have been something else? And then we go to her concert and we pay money to see her at the exorbitant rate of concert tickets now. We're saying in our etheric field, in our resonance, in our frequency, in our vibration, that that's all okay with us. We're in covenant with it. That's what we're doing. We're mixing our field. That's why it's so different when you talk to someone over the phone and when you're talking to them face to face. Because you're vibrating with each other when you're talking face to face. As an energy fields are mixing. So you're sharing your energy with this person that possibly could have done all those things. I can't say whether she did or not. I'm speculating. But I'm speculating over a lot of things that make sense. You know, that makes sense. Like who wears a meat dress to the Met Gala? Someone who's used to dealing with some pretty gross stuff, I guess. You know what I mean? But then again, leather is a animal product as well. But I mean, like, come on, raw meat, yeah. So yeah, 3-3 day. Let's not think about the negative. So tomorrow, I'm going to do that ceremony with candle, where I meditate, and then stuff like that. And another thing too, if you have something you feel you can't let go of, while you're doing that ceremony with candle, where you're pulling out the ember before you start the ceremony, write on a piece of paper, I release all of, don't get specific. Don't be all sort of, how do you put it? Negative about it. Don't go, oh, and that rat bastard did this to me. No, no, no. Just say, I release all that my old avatar had to carry on her back, had to deal with, had to live with. I release that all on the other side of the portal, and I embrace my new avatar that only allows the best for my, higher self. Put that on a piece of paper. When you finish your deep breathing for 3 times and you blow on the ember for 3 times, you can take that ember and maybe put it, like, pretend you're dropping it in the candle, and then light that piece of paper on fire. Let it, like, burn safely. Let it turn to ash on a plate, and then take that ash. And if it's not spring where you are, you know what I mean? Um, get yourself a little planter with some soil. Put that ash in the soil. Put a seed in there, and let life extinguish the negative that you have attached to what happened to you in the past. Okay, that new life will transmute that negative energy to a positive. Okay, then you embrace your new avatar. You embrace the new person you are once you pass the portal. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys go because it's almost 2 hours now. I want to thank you guys so much for coming and listening to me rant on about the number 3. And I hope I didn't bore you to tears with it, but I had to let you know what a significant as, astrological event it was, and spiritual as well. And I hope that you guys will just embrace your new avatars now that you're on the other side. If you felt you were tired when you woke up and you felt you worked through something the whole night, you're maybe still working through some stuff, just please just go and sort of declutter your house, think positive thoughts, listen to some great music. Um, Maybe that's not included with the people of Epstein, I don't know. Just like Jim Carrey said, be yourselves, be yourself, be yourself. He kept saying that, be yourself. I was. That's what he said, be yourself. I was. So love you guys. Have a great, great night tonight and get some good sleep, okay? Bye.